I still feel that ice water chill crawl up my spine whenever I think about that day. If I had known how it would all turn out, I swear I would have sawed my own arm off before crossing the threshold of that apartment. But youth is foolish, and curiosity is a terrible sin. It all started with Jess. She was always into that kind of stuff. Horoscopes, tarot cards, palmistry. Then her boyfriend dumped her and she went completely off the rails. She got it into her head that she was hexed or cursed, and she found some gifted clairvoyant named Madame Seraphina in an ad on Craigslist. And she dragged me along with her for moral support. Said she was too scared to go alone. It would have been better for me if she had. This Seraphina lived in a run-down brownstone in a part of the city that was trying to forget its own name. The rot and despair hit you the moment you walked into the building's lobby. Her apartment was tiny, cluttered with jars filled with murky liquids, bundles of dried herbs hanging from the ceiling that made you want to sneeze, and dusty curios that seemed to absorb the light. The Madame herself was a short, hunched-over old woman with eyes so faded and pale they looked right through you. Had a long time with Jess, whispering over a bowl of water as wax dripped into it, then gave her the standard spiel. Arrival put bad energy on you, your path is blocked, your man will come back, but not soon. Jess seemed to find some peace in that. Then it was my turn. I sat down across from her, and she locked her colorless gaze on me. "You, child, have no business being here," she rasped. "You have your own path, a bright one, but there's a shadow that walks with you. A long shadow, one that isn't yours." "What kind of shadow?" I asked, forcing a smile to hide a sudden shiver. "The kind you don't cast but attract." She leaned in, and I smelled the sour scent of old age and dust. "You opened a door and forgot to close it. Now it calls to you, whispers your name in the dark. It's coming soon. Wait." I left her place utterly bewildered. What door? What shadow? It was all nonsense. Jess was chattering away about her future with her ex, but I couldn't shake the feeling of clammy fear. The first thing happened that very night. I woke up to a scratching sound at my window. I live on the 5th floor. My heart dropped into my stomach. I froze, afraid to breathe. The scratching came again, a long, drawn-out sound, like a fingernail being dragged across the glass. I squeezed my eyes shut, pulled the blanket over my head, and stayed like that until dawn. In the morning, of course, I told myself it was just a dream. A couple of days later, I got home late. I put my key in the lock, but it wouldn't turn, as if someone was holding it from the inside. I jiggled the handle, locked solid. I rang the doorbell, silence. I was panicking. Someone was in my apartment. I called a locksmith and the police. They forced the door open. Inside, there was no one. Everything was in its place, except for one thing. On the hallway mirror, as if traced in the thin layer of dust, was a single word: wait. The cops looked at me like I was crazy, suggested maybe I'd written it myself and forgotten. It got worse. Objects started moving on their own. I knew for a fact I'd left my keys on the nightstand, but I'd find them in the refrigerator. The book I was reading would end up under my bed, but the sounds were the worst part. At night, I'd hear footsteps in the hallway, heavy, shuffling, masculine footsteps. I'd hear a low whisper that seemed to come from the darkest corner of the room. It was calling my name. just like the old woman had said. At first, Jess brushed it off, telling me I was just being paranoid from stress. But then she stayed the night. We were both jolted awake by a loud crash from the kitchen. We huddled in the corner of my bedroom, trembling with fear. When the sun came up, we dared to go look. Every single dish from the drying rack had been carefully arranged on the floor in a strange symbol, like a single staring eye. The color drained from Jess's face. She packed her things and left, muttering that she didn't need this in her life. She never stayed over again. I stopped sleeping. I thought I was losing my mind. I constantly felt like someone was watching me. I'd spin around on the street, no one there. I'd glance in a mirror, and for a split second, I'd swear I saw a tall, dark figure standing right behind my shoulder. No face, just a silhouette. The breaking point came in the bathroom. I was in the shower when the power went out. I froze, the water still running, and in the hiss of the spray, I heard it, a whisper, right next to my ear. "I'm here." I screamed, scrambled out of the tub, and ran naked and dripping from my apartment into the building hallway. My neighbors called an ambulance. I ended up in a mental health facility. The doctor said it was a severe nervous breakdown. I tried to tell them about the psychic, about the shadow, but they just nodded sympathetically and upped my dosage of tranquilizers. I was released a month later. I came back to my apartment. It was quiet, too quiet. For a while, I was on edge, but nothing happened. I almost started to believe them, that it was all in my head. Last week, I was cleaning out my closet and found a photo, taken just a few days before we went to that witch. It was me and Jess, goofing around in the park. I'm smiling at the camera, and behind me, standing by a tree, is that same tall, dark figure. I zoomed in on the picture on my phone. You can't make out a face, just a dark blur. But I know it's him, my shadow. I'm writing this now because tonight I heard the scratching at my window again, and I know no pills are going to help me. It never left. It was just waiting, just like she said. And I don't know how much time I have left.